finished the first month of 2026, January. Normally a dumping ground of films. This month, by the general audience, they've deemed it quite good. We got a new 28 Years Later movie. We got a new Sam Raimi movie. We obviously got the stuff like the Jason Statham movie and the Netflix films. But today, I'm going to rank the 5 movies that I saw released in January 2026. Before I dive into my ranking, if you would subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, comment down below. What is your ranking of the films that you saw in January? I would love to know all that and more. And with that said, let's dive right in to number 5, Shelter. Have you guys ever watched a Jason Statham movie? Ever? I thought so. Because I have too. And so I walked into this movie feeling like I've already watched the film. Now, I wasn't even planning on watching this movie. I was going to the movies with my grandmother. We were planning on going to go see Mercy. The app said it started at a different time. Then we got there and it was all jumbled up, whatever. So we ended up watching Shelter. And I was not excited. I already went in with the lowest expectations. And I gotta say, it was fine. But at the same time, it wasn't really my thing. There were a couple of good action sequences in there. One involving a garden green room workshop, which I thought was pretty cool. A hand-to-hand combat between Jason Statham and someone else. And the finale on a boat was actually quite brutal. Had some brutal moments in there. The fight between Jason Statham and the same person he fought in the garden green room scene. The one-on-one hand-to-hand combat sequences were quite good in here. It's directed by director Rick Roman Way, who likes shooting on location, loves shooting on location, so this film does look quite good. He actually shoots on the islands in these areas. It's not behind a green screen. It actually looks quite good. If you like Jason Statham, obviously you're probably going to like this movie. My grandma left the theater liking it. I was like, okay, it's fine. The story doesn't really have anything memorable in it. There's not really any memorable performances. I don't really care between the relationship between Jason Statham and the girl that he's trying to protect in this movie. There's a lot of action sequences that really let me down. I am a whore for nightclub sequences. I absolutely love nightclub sequences. And there's a nightclub sequence in this movie that I was so excited to get to. I was like, this movie might actually end up being good. And it was like shaky cam. You can't tell what the hell is going on. So I was like, nah, okay. Left disappointed there. I feel like with these Jason Statham action movies, if you don't take them seriously, they're going to be a lot of fun. Look at The Beekeeper. It did not take itself seriously whatsoever, and it's my favorite Jason Statham action movie. Instead, you get these movies where he's playing Jason Statham, and I'm gonna kick the shit out of some guys. Bah, 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 bah. I'm Jason Statham fighting the guys. And the stories are all the same, and he's always doing the same thing. Instead, you gotta take yourself seriously. In fact, I was thinking Jason Statham and Liam Neeson in the next Naked Gun movie, that would be pretty hilarious. But it takes itself way too seriously, gets way too dark. They kill a German Shepherd in the movie, and as someone who has German Shepherds, was not too happy with that. And at the end of the day, I feel like if I stayed at home and watched it on Netflix, I would have liked it a lot more than I did. Instead, I left the theater like, okay, all right. Typical streaming movie. Number 4, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Now, I'm a big fan of that first 28 Years Later movie. I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite movies from last year. And so I was so excited for this one. It was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. And I left disappointed. I watched it twice in the theater, and both times I was pretty let down by it. There are tons of awesome scenes in here. I think the performance by Jack O'Connell is phenomenal. He's scary. Several sequences, edge of your seat. It's brutal. It's disgusting. It's gnarly. You feel the tension in all the tension-filled scenes. Ralph Fiennes is also really good in this movie. They start to form a little relationship between him and Samson, the alpha zombie, which is something really interesting in there. And there are just tons of scenes, tons of dialogue that I have replayed in my head. I'm like, that was really awesome. But at the end of the day, the movie fell flat for me because you get that first 28 Years Later movie, and it's has so much emotion to it. Where in the back half of the movie, you get the Bone Temple sequences and the stuff with Spike's mom and all that. And it's incredibly emotional and brings a tear to my eye, adds a little bit of emotional nuance to it. And in the end of the day, this movie doesn't have a sequence like that. It's like the Jimmies are messing stuff up, roughing some stuff up. You get a dance sequence in the end, and then there are certain character deaths in the end that are just played off as jokes. Like one of the people say, I don't think you're going to survive that stab wound you got there. You're going to die. played off as a joke. Where when the character death happens in the finale of the film, I'm like, I don't feel any tension, I don't feel any weight, and it's kind of played off as a joke, and I'm like, I'm not really enjoying this. So while there is so many amazing moments in here, it doesn't have that one moment to stick, like a lot of you guys are seeing in this movie. And I'm just like, it was a good enough movie, but I was highly disappointed by it. Number 3, Send Help, the latest Sam Raimi film. It's first rated R movie in about 25 years, which is kind of crazy. And I liked it for the most part. I had a really good time with it. Rachel McAdams, Dylan O'Brien, great chemistry. Dylan O'Brien, an actor that I've liked for a long time, plays a really good douchebag in here, but Rachel McAdams absolutely steals it away. She's just kind of this nut job woman. She's a lot of fun. There's these big sequences that obviously have the Raimi-isms, blood squirting, close-ups, like even like the sequences that aren't ginormous and crazy, just like a simple conversation, the way that he uses the camera to zoom into like a piece of tuna stuck to someone's chin or something like that. He knows how to make you squeezy. He knows how to make you want to look away. And he knows how to get you invested and to be like, I don't really like what's going on here. Because he is a director who is able to create the tension and use that really well. In fact, I loved all the Sam Raimi-isms in here, but the big problem is there wasn't really enough of that for me. A lot of the movie, not really a negative, but a lot of the movie is Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams talking on an island. And it's fine. It's entertaining enough. But when you get those Sam Raimi-isms, it's awesome. It's fun. Then we enter the third act where it goes absolutely insane. And in the third act, we're having a really good time with the Sam Raimi-isms, and there's all this carnage going on, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's not going to show us the complete rest of the gore. It's going to have us allude to what happened and cut forward into the future. And I was like, right in the middle of the Sam Raimi-isms? Right in the middle of that? Really? And so if you strip that instantly away from me while I'm having a blast, I'm like, no. That genuinely pisses me off because I'm having such a good time. And so I left the theater with a sour taste in my mouth just the way the movie ended. But overall, the movie is a lot of fun. It's got a lot of the Sam Raimi-isms. I had a good enough time with it. But at the end of the day, you got to close out your movie better than that. My runner-up for January is Where We Bury the Dead. This is a new film with Daisy Ridley. It's a zombie film, not without a lot of zombie action. What really works about this movie, it is about grief and how grief can twist our minds. And I thought that was really interesting, where a lot of the horror isn't zombies chasing after you. A lot of the horror is about how grief can twist our minds. Numerous sequences with characters. The overall story is about, there's this island and a missile came and it killed everybody. Some people are still alive, but obviously they're zombies. So they're technically dead, but whatever. But that's the story of the movie. So throughout the entire movie, it's like you're following these people that this is like a vacation island. Their spouse, their friend went to this island, and just because of a mistake, they're just dead. And you're following the characters as they grieve. The lead character, played by Daisy Ridley, who is really good in this movie, her husband went to this island. It's about grief. There's sequences like at a house with a certain character that is just really intense and handles these sequences really well. Also, the movie, aside from grief, is about closure. Once you find out some of the reveals in the final act, it's really handled really well as of the closure stuff. And I'm like, the themes in this movie are really good to where I kind of don't miss the zombie action. Now, it does feel like it's building towards something. There is so much tension throughout the entire movie that you feel like it's building towards something, but that something never comes, unfortunately. But there is tension. I was on the edge of my seat a lot of the movie. I just wish that there was more of a grand bang finale instead of ending the way it did. Because the way the movie ended was kind of similar to 28 Years Later. I'm not going to say how, but with something that they say, I was like, oh, that literally just happened 6 months ago and 28 Years Later, but okay. But overall, I thought Where We Bury the Dead was a movie that uses its themes really well and didn't need to use the zombies as the big motivation point, as the story's more about grief and closure. But my favorite movie of January and my favorite movie of the year thus far is The Rip, with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, who obviously are a lot of fun in the movie. They've been in tons of movies together. They always have great chemistry. They have great chemistry throughout this entire film. What I thought was really done well in the movie is the movie does a good job of making you think throughout the majority of the runtime that they are at each other's heads, that they are against each other instead of being friends. Obviously, you know it's going to kind of reverse in the end. They're not going to pit them against each other. It's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, but you genuinely believe that. Their performances are a ton of fun. The action isn't really all that memorable. You've seen it before. But what really works about this movie is it's very, very stressful. It pits our characters in a really impossible situation at this house, and you fear for their lives throughout the entire runtime. You don't necessarily know how it's going to end. You think characters are going to die. You don't know who's good. You don't know who's bad. There's several twists in the back half of the movie that are really effective and really work for me. There are some that aren't quite as effective, but plenty of the twists inside of this movie worked and kind of flipped it on its head. It's got a pretty good script. It's got edge of your seat tension. The score is quite good. Cinematography is really good as well. It's directed by Joe Carnahan, who has done several movies, Cop Shop, Boss Level, tons of like B-level action movies. So he's good at this type of thing. If you like this type of movie, you're going to enjoy it. This is a really good one. And I had a lot of fun watching this movie. My heart was pounding the entire film. So I think if you like this type of movie, you're going to really enjoy it. And so for the first time in Zach D Films channel history, a Netflix original movie has won the month ranking. The Rip is my favorite movie of the year thus far. It's not going to stay that way, but it is thus far. Thank you guys for clicking on this ranking. Tell me your ranking down below in the comments section. And with that said, subscribe.